Avoir.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Fit Pet Boston Talks. My name is Leah Lodato, and I am the host of the show. And today I am joined by my spouse, Laurie.
Hello.
And Renee Ryer is back with us. Thanks for coming by, Renee.
Thanks for having me.
Did I say your last name correctly?
You did.
Awesome. I love it when you're here. It's like so great because we just have great conversations because you're a friend and you're also really good at what you do. So it's awesome that you agreed to come back. We have a couple of pointed questions to ask Renee regarding grooming. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say thank you for tuning into the podcast. If you're brand new, please feel free to share and subscribe to the podcast. If you are into what you are listening to, it helps more people listen to the show. And make sure that you follow us on social media at Fit Pet Boston and at ABC Dog Training on Instagram. All right, so what do you want to ask Renee first? Well, first, let me just say, if you're brand new, Renee is a professional groomer. What's the name of your business, Renee?
Transformation Spa.
Transformation Spa with a fur in the middle.
That's right.
Before.
F-U-R. Fur.
And Renee is a mobile pet groomer, also a really good friend of ours, one of the first dog handling professionals that I met that was not another trainer, and very good reputation in our local area here as a groomer. And if you haven't listened to the episodes that she's been on before, please check those out because they were awesome. But today we asked some questions to our Instagram followers, and Laurie had some questions in her notebook. So we figured that we'd just head right into it. If you want to start, Laurie, I'm not sure what the first question is.
Well, I have some questions, but first I want to congratulate Renee on her new rescue dog.
Ooh, I
Thank
forgot.
you.
I know.
Yes.
Oh, tell us about your new rescue.
Poppy Floppy. So we did the Embark DNA. I don't know if you guys have ever had to do a DNA swab on any dogs, but that's the one that comes back the most highly rated. Mm-hmm. So she came back at almost 50% German Shepherd dog.
Oh boy.
Which I thought from her gait and kind of her looks a little bit. And then she came back as partially pit bull and then a super mutt mix of like small poodle, boxer, and lab, I think.
All right.
And I can kind of see all those things. So she's like, I call her my little Maligator right now because she's just turned 7 months. So she's a little bit, chompy and nippy and jumpy, and we're working on it. But she's great. My lab hound mix has like totally taken her under her wing, taught her all of her tricks, chasing groundhogs. And
Oh, good.
oh, yes. Yes, Miss Colette had to intercept a groundhog showdown last
No
week or 2
way.
ago. Oh, yeah.
Colette has the
She's
worst
like,
luck.
No, she's like, legit. She's like, do you have a shovel? I'm like,
She wanted to
"Oh."
bury it?
No, she just like wanted to get it out of the yard.
Oh, okay.
She's like, Poppy and Xena like went like
They
tag teamed.
They killed it.
Well, he lives under our shed. And so what he does is he comes out of the corner of the shed and taunts them all day. He taunts them. He stares them down through the sliding glass doors.
The groundhog.
And so he was in the corner where Colette didn't see him. So when she went to let the dogs out to, he came scurrying like he's going to beat the two of them. Both of them noses to the ground. So, yeah. The next door neighbor, Mike, he's a nice guy. He gave her a shovel, and I don't know where the groundhog is, but that's 2 down.
Wow.
I don't know how many live under there, but that's 2
so
down.
this groundhog every day was like, let's do this.
Oh, yeah.
And then he lost.
Oh, he lost.
And-
or she. We don't know.
And Colette saw it. I just can't believe she was dealing with this. She came to a class with one of my new customers that was referred by her so that she could do some stuff from training while she was walking the dog. The Great Dane.
The new baby one?
Yes.
Oh, my God. He's so cute.
The Snoopy.
Oh, my God. He's so cute.
You should see what he thinks running is. Like, he's like, I'm running. It's so slow. His ears are so huge. I was like, he's like, I'm coming home. They're like, and the woman's like, well, he lags with walking. I said, look at him. I said, in this case, we're going to try to match the pace of the animal. I mean, his feet, his paws,
walking.
yeah, his paws suction cup to the ground. So every time he moves, it's like, then I'm like, come on, let's go. Yeah.
He's so cute, though.
The running is ridiculous. You don't even have to put it in slow motion on your camera.
That's funny.
Yeah, he's cute. So that's so funny. Oh, I can't wait to talk to Colette.
Yeah.
That was the groundhog.
Yeah.
Well, because the last time you came and talked to us, it was like a Thursday, and you had picked her up on Saturday, so you were waiting to get
We were waiting to get
to
her.
get
Yes.
to get her. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She actually got groomed today. So
There you go.
yeah, just breaking her in of all the things right away.
How's
How'd
she
it
doing
go?
with grooming?
She's doing great. She's totally great. She jumped right into the van. I pick her up to put her in the tub because I think the table kind of situation sometimes scares dogs, but she does totally fine with the bath, the blow dryer. I've done her nails 4 times already. 'Cause I
Good.
want them to be nice and short like Buddha's.
I love short nails.
Me too. And she's like still jumping, so I don't want her scratching people up. And she's already got razor sharp teeth, so
And
Oh,
Poppy,
puppy floppy.
Poppy Floppy. You have to see the ears. She's part elephant too.
The ears are like
Good
Huge.
obscene.
Yep.
But that's her personality. Look at her ears, and that's who she is. She's like so goofy and silly and
But most importantly, how's she doing with Gabriel?
amazing.
Good.
Amazing, yeah.
You're
She's-
not like worried at all or anything like that.
No, the foster that she was staying with had been in a home with, I think I told you guys this last time, an older lab, a smaller dog, a pug, and then her grandchildren, which were, I think, between the ages of like 7 and 12. So she had already been exposed to kids, small dogs, big dogs. So
How old is
awesome.
your son Gabriel again?
he'll be 7 in September.
7.
So he's been around dogs since he was a baby. So he knows boundaries and, he knows what's appropriate and what's not. He doesn't try to climb on her back,
Yep.
tug at her ears. He doesn't do those kind of things.
Yep.
The only thing I've been super like making a point of doing is when I put her food bowl down, trying to pet her face, and I literally put my hands on her muzzle while she's eating her food just to make
So
sure,
she's like
so that she's
isn't weird about it.
totally doesn't care. Yeah.
Cool.
So
Sometimes it helps to put an empty bowl down and just put food in the bowl. Or do a drive-by feeding. Like put an empty bowl and then your hand produces really good things.
oh, okay.
Instead of putting-
Having the food already in the bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
And kind of making it maybe not the best experience.
Okay.
So empty bowl on the floor, do drive-by food. I've done this before with dogs if I've had them for the day, and I'll even crawl by the bowl and put my hand inside the bowl, and bam, food's there, and then I walk away.
Okay.
So that's how I do it. And feeding from your hand will help too, and having Gabriel walk by and just produce food in that bowl while you supervise, that's a very helpful thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good to know.
She's super cute though. Man, I know. It's awesome to have a new dog. So
It is.
great. It's been a while since you had a young dog too, a puppy.
Yes.
Because your dogs are older.
Well, Speed had turned 16 on April 25th.
Speed was,
Miniature Schnauzer.
yeah.
And then we lost him, obviously, as you know, which is why we got Poppy. She was our bridge dog. I wasn't expecting to lose Speed so quickly. I thought, like, for sure he wouldn't make it until the end of the year because we had talked about he had been diagnosed with early stage kidney disease.
Yeah.
But even the Lab Hound mix, her estimated date of birth would make she'll be 13 in the fall.
Crazy.
So I haven't had a puppy in forever.
Yeah. That's what happens when you take good care of your dogs.
Yeah.
They live for a while.
I'm sorry about Speed. I keep thinking about Ripa
Yeah.
too, my old girl. So I'm not going to bring it down. Okay.
I know. And every time we play the podcast, that barking that you hear is Ripa's barking. And I need to dig up the video. I have a video of when I recorded that barking.
Really?
I had like 2 microphones and I was like, this guy had food and I was throwing her the food when she would do it. I have it somewhere on my phone, but I have to find it. I'll post it on the Instagram. It was so funny. That was very, very, late in life that we did that. Anyway, all right, let's get into these questions. Laurie, what's the first one you got there?
The first question was, do you strip the ears on a hunt? Is that what it was, Leah?
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. I didn't know that you were going to ask that question. I thought you were going to ask a question
A different
from yourself.
question.
Yeah.
Oh, I have I have a million, but I wanted to get the guys' questions.
Okay, so questions from Instagram, people that submitted questions. I got 2 original questions. The first one is from my buddy Carlos, and he asked, can you touch on ear hair stripping?
Okay, so I would not recommend someone who's not skilled at stripping to even attempt stripping the ears because the ears are super vascular. So they can easily be nicked and cut and they bleed like crazy. So my recommendation is to always have the ear in the palm of your hand so you can feel the edges of the leather depending on if it's, a cropped ear or a dropped ear. And I would use an extra fine stripping knife or even a pumice stripping stone. Because, if you don't know what you're doing, you don't want to put a stripping knife against an ear leather.
Okay.
Like even for the springers that I competed with, the entire coat was stripped except for the ears were clippered for the first third.
Okay.
So, but clippers are, dangerous too.
Yep.
You can catch the edge of ear leather.
Yep.
With the little blades.
Nobody wants
no
an ear to
fun.
bleed.
Ears and tongues.
Okay, so what do you mean by pumice stone?
It's part of the stripping tool
Okay.
catalog. It's the closest thing I can.
I know what a pumice stone is. Like
It's
what you
basically-
use on
yeah.
your feet when you
Yeah,
in the shower.
it's basically like that, but it's meant for the fine hairs
okay.
when you're stripping finer hair versus like the full body. You can use that at the end of stripping as well, like just to smooth out the coat. And you can use powders that help to like lift the hair easier. But my recommendation is if you're not a professional, I would not attempt to strip ears.
Okay, and let's say you have a dog that needs ear stripping or some sort of grooming on their ears. What happens if you don't do that?
What do you mean what happens if you don't do it?
Like, do they get matted? Do they just grow out?
Yeah, not necessarily matted. I
Okay.
mean, like a schnauzer wouldn't get necessarily matted.
They would just be long and like unbecoming.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha. How about for the purposes of working? Like, let's say you have a wire hair dog and they're a pointer and they're going out into the field and there's, rushes and brambles and brush and all that stuff and they're running through that stuff. Is it an increased risk of getting more stuff stuck in their fur that you would keep everything tidy, or does it matter or does it not?
I don't know that it would help or hinder what they're doing. I
Okay.
think it's more an aesthetic than it is anything else. If
Pragmatic.
that- yeah.
All right,
That
cool.
makes sense.
That's a good answer. And then piggybacking off of that question, this is not a question from anybody who submitted one. Laurie had a question about ear plucking. So if you wouldn't mind just describing what that is and then giving us your take on whether or not you do it and why.
Yes, I am a proponent of ear plucking. I think it's important to get the hair out of the canal so that you can properly clean and see if there's any debris, dirt, accumulation, anything funky going on in there. Lori can tell you as well, there's certain breeds that are super prone to impacted hair in the canal. Doodle breeds tend to be one of them. Standard poodles, Portuguese water dogs. I mean, the hair is so packed in there that you can't even see the canal. So if we don't pull it out, then how are they ever going to know if the dog has an ear infection? I mean, how many owners look in their dog's ears on a regular basis anyways? But I'm a huge proponent. I know that's kind of a debate between groomers of whether it's a vet's job or a groomer's job. I was taught how to properly do it. I've never had any ill consequences from making sure dogs' ears are plucked and clean and clear. So I'm all in. All
And
in
do you
on the
do
ear
it with
plucking.
your fingers? Do you do it with a tool?
I use hemostats.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, gosh, what do you?
I just bought a pair of those.
It's like, I was like tweezers,
They're
but like
first
you can
aid
actually,
kit.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you can actually
They
like
lock.
tighten it so that
Yeah.
it locks in. And then I try not to do like all of the hair at once. I do try to do smaller segments, especially depending on how much hair is in there. And then sometimes I'll pluck with my fingers too. And they make a
Gotcha.
powder if you ever need to. They do make a powder that helps to grip the hair. Because if it's like super like trapped in there and lots of wax on it, you can keep like the hemostat will slip right off the hair.
Sure.
So there's like a little powder you can put in there. They say it kind of numbs it
kinda
as well, but I don't know about that part.
Yeah, I use
Some dogs are just sensitive to it.
a hemostat and I use the powder
You do. Okay.
and I use my hands too. If I can't see down the ear, and I'm not trained, I just read a lot about
Yeah,
it.
but you know.
And if I can see down the ear, I don't pluck it. But when I tell you, I have pulled mats out of dogs' ears and I'm like, can you hear now? And it's always a doodle.
Yep.
It's not really
Like the-
Portuguese water dog.
The top canal will be like just regular hair, right? And then when you get further in, then it's like coiled and kinked up and
I
yeah.
can't even believe what I've pulled out of a dog's ear before.
Yeah.
I
Do
mean,
you think that's a breeding issue?
No, I think it's an anatomy
just-
issue, right?
yeah.
I think it's just like the same as certain breeds are more prone to ear infections,
Yeah,
like
labs.
labs, goldens, poodles, and then like the droopy like bassets and
Yep.
beagles, dogs that are like low to the ground, constantly sniffing,
All the heavy ears.
sniffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate doing the ear plucking. One of my dogs that I ear pluck, she just hates it so much, and I do it at the
Very end. Yeah.
because I don't want her to hate me. I try to do it every other one. I try to make it as pleasant as possible. I use the powder. I did realize that when a dog has an ear infection, I feel like the hair comes out easier.
Yes. Yeah.
Not like I want them to
It's
have an
almost
ear.
like they're asking for it.
Right. I know. And I'm like, I'm sure she feels better when you're done, but it is, some dogs are just more sensitive to it. Same as like the nail issue. Some dogs could care less, and some dogs are like squealing. You don't even have the nail clipper on their nail bed, and they're already like screeching. And
I took your advice.
oh yeah,
I had a dog named Kiwi come here for nails. I put her in the tub to do it. I put her on the table. Had her on the ground. One thing that I didn't do that I should have was have her mother go away.
oh yes,
Normally I do that. So I said to her, I did as much as I want to without the dog telling me to, go pound sand.
mm-hmm.
I said, it's just going to take longer than you think. Instead of me just barreling through it like I always do and getting the job done, I was like, nope, I'm going to do what Renee does. I said, I did what I could. I said, you're going to come back once a week to my house and just walk around. Walk around, feed her, give her treats. She'll come in the garage, I give her treats, and leave. She did that. I know. The second time, I totally listened to you. The second time she came, I put her up on the table, told the mom goodbye. I clipped all 4 nails. Her mom came back again the next week, gave her treats, didn't do anything. Oh, it was beautiful.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Didn't fight me. I was like, this is amazing. See, Laurie, you don't have to just put all that pressure on yourself to just get the job done. And the mom was so willing to work with me. The dog got snacks and treats, didn't have to get her nails done. It was great.
That's amazing.
So thank you.
oh, I'm so
Yeah,
glad
there
it
you go.
worked. That's
It was
awesome.
awesome.
Take your time, people. Wonderful. All right, let's go to the second question from the good old Instagram. Now, this is a question that I got asked 3 times. So if you asked a question similar to this one, I'm going to give it to Druid the Swissy, my friend Alex's new Greater Swiss Mountain Dog puppy. So adorable.
Cute.
Yes. Very, very, very cute. Anyway, this is the question. If you asked a roundabout, here it is. All right. What should clients be looking for in a groomer to start with their puppy?
Okay, number 1, I would say at a minimum, a dog groomer that has licensed CPR and first aid training at a minimum. As you guys know, this is not a regulated industry. So unfortunately, any Joe Schmo who thinks it's fun to play with puppies all day long can go buy clipper, scissors, whatever, slap their name on whatever, and off they go. So I would say definitely at a minimum, pet CPR, first aid training, so they know what to do in an emergency. I would prefer if you find someone who actually does have some official training under their belt. So, I mean, most people either started at a big box, chain store, PetSmart or Petco that has a training academy, and then they work for the franchise and then maybe go out on their own. Some people did apprenticeships under, a freestanding salon, and some people are just like 3rd generation groomers, so they don't necessarily have official training capacity, but those would be my imperative things that I would look for as a groomer. And then do you think they mean more broadly like when they should start, what they should ask for on the first time? Or
Yeah, I mean,
are
I
they
think-
more looking for qualifications of a groomer?
I don't know. That was the extent of the question. And it's hard, right? Because you could go down a really deep rabbit hole on it. I love how you said CPR because I have a CPR certification and I renew it every 2 years. And even though it's the same course, I like remember things that I forgot in between. And it just is so basic, like how to take a dog's temperature, how to make sure that you can dislodge something if they're choking, how to, like, it's literally just really basic but good information to know. So I would say that CPR is good for any dog handler to have. So I love how you said that first. And then training under their belt, I think, is great. Is there anything specific about, I don't know, the way the person presents, like maybe their vehicle, maybe their, I don't know, like what would you be looking for if somebody were grooming your dog and you weren't doing it anymore?
Well, someone kind and friendly, approachable, someone who listened to my requests or anything that I might be worried about versus just like brushing it off. Sometimes you can feel like if you go, especially to a busy salon, you can kind of feel like just a number. You know, they just like take you in and they don't really even ask like what your name is or what your dog's name is. They just like kind of figure it out on the back end.
Sure.
So for me, I'd be looking for like personalized attention, like someone pleasantly greeting me.
Sure. Are you looking at their social media? Do you look at pictures of their jobs before and after? Like, is that important to you, or are you kind of like, whatever?
No, anytime I'm looking to refer someone, I go to their social media pages because I want to see their before and afters. I want to see reviews. I want to see I shouldn't even say how frequently they post because I'm the worst about that. But I don't feel confident giving a referral if I can't tell the person, hey, it's like equal to my work, or it's not quite, but you probably get a better deal, or, you know, they're equal, they're better than me. I mean, I have people that I refer that the groomers are definitely better than me.
Gotcha.
And I have no problem saying that. So yeah, I would say looking at the social media, especially if they, you know, depending on the type of dog, if they're looking for a specific style, because they need to be able to communicate with the groomer what they're looking for as well.
Right.
You know, sometimes you hear a lot of people say, oh, trim it way down short, but not shaved.
What does that mean?
Like, what does that mean? Because like whether it's shaved with a blade or it's trimmed short with a snap-on comb, at the end of the day, you're cutting the hair.
Right.
So, and I think sometimes groomers just don't even take the time to educate clients. You know, same as like when someone comes in and goes, my lab is shedding like crazy. Can you just shave it? Ugh. Like, no, you shouldn't shave. Like they just did that to my dad's rescue dog.
Aww.
She came from Texas and he's like, they shaved her hair. I'm like, is there a particular reason why? And he said, because they said the Houston heat and to make her look pretty.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, I wish they hadn't have done that.
Why did they do that?
She's a short-coated dog. Like, she's a mix, too. You don't know what she is, but she's, like, similar to Poppy.
Yeah. You're
So
like,
I'm
I
like,
could have taken care
Cool.
of this.
So now you have to put sunscreen on her to... No, just kidding.
It's so interesting to me. You brought up labs, and this might go down a rabbit hole. Maybe we'll ask one or two of your questions, Lori. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. No, I mean, because
We're
we're
taking the back burner, Lori.
No, we're addressing them.
Oh, some of them? Oh, good.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to throw Murphy's owner under the bus at all. My buddy Murphy, who's Raven's half brother, is a chocolate lab, and I probably spent an hour brushing him before I groomed him the other day, and the hair was still coming out, like the fur was still coming out, but I was just like, I am out of time, and I know that the blower is going to get more of this hair out, or fur, I should say. And like when his owner came and picked him up, like we have a great relationship or whatever. I'm like, dude, you got to brush this dog. He's like, I know, every day. I'm like, what does your brush look like? Like, just make sure that, and you know, he's very, very well taken care of, but he just sheds like an enormous amount. Is that like, what is that?
I actually find that it tends to be either food or environmentally related. I mean, they're never going to not shed.
No, I'm not looking for that. But I'm pulling fur out of him for like an hour and it's still coming.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and you see those videos on Instagram, you know, where a groomer will have like a Bernese Mountain Dog inside the tub and they'll be like, I brushed the dog, and like they have like a hairnet on and there's just like fur just everywhere. Like, how is the dog how are they holding on to that without it just kind of blowing out or coming off? And then what, like, is it a seasonal thing? Like it happens like twice a year? Like, what is that? And how can we improve it, basically?
Well, yes, the 2 times that it is more prominent is the solstice. So like daylight savings in the fall and the spring.
Okay.
If you ever think about it now, you'll go back and go,
Okay,
oh, you know
Yeah.
what? Actually, I have noticed the dog is blowing more coat during those 2 times. But I mean, for him, are they adding like a fish oil supplement or raw egg to his diet? Anything
know,
to
but
help
those could-
improve?
So that would improve like the coat's condition, basically.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my German Shepherd, she's on an all fish diet just to
Okay.
try to see if that helps. And then also this new, actually, I wonder if you guys know about this because it's common in labs that when I was doing her DNA kit, not to get off topic,
No,
but
you're good.
she carries the gene for copper toxicosis.
Oh,
Do you guys know what that is?
no.
I've never heard of it, so I'm curious now. It's something about where the liver can't excrete copper or something.
Hang on, I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, so
What
it's
is it
super
called?
common in labs. So I'm really copper
Yeah,
toxicosis.
toxicosis. I'm gonna look that up. That's good to know.
So now I'm like, geez, I got to make sure I'm feeding her the right thing because they say it can be changed by, just keeping an eye on the diet.
Okay, cool.
I've never heard of it. I have to. Look it
Yeah,
up.
you guys have to look it up. and
Because
tell
like
me.
our dogs, like Buddha, he doesn't shed. I mean, Laurie brushes him, but it's not like you know how like clumps of fur will come off of a dog when they're like shedding?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's never happened to him. That like Raven, she's only 18 months, but like I brush her because I want to be a good lab owner.
Mm-hmm.
But like nothing comes out. I mean, at certain times of the year it has, like
Right.
actually in the earlier spring, I was brushing and I'm like, oh my God, but it wasn't like crazy. Do you think that altering a dog makes a difference in their fur?
Oh, it definitely can.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if they're altered early. I think
Okay.
it can definitely make a difference. I mean, unfortunately, look at me. My rescue we got her at 6 months. God knows how old she was when she was already spayed. I know.
I hate that.
I know. Stunt the growth. And so, yeah, it can definitely.
Well,
Because it even softens like drop coats, like Shih Tzus and Yorkies and kind of those kind of dogs that I've seen them get spayed super early. They just get this like super soft, unmanageable coat that just like mats all the time.
Interesting.
So that could be it. Maybe he's super oily.
Interesting.
Like for him, I would say a curry brush. Is that what the owner's using?
No.
I use a slicker brush, and it depends on how bad he is. I usually use a slicker brush, and then I just like empty the slicker brush as it's like filling up, or I have one of those ones for like a horse.
The Easy Grim, the one that has like
Yeah.
the blade on it?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say curry brush, and that would be my 2 recommendations for him.
And first I actually take a comb
That's insane.
and I just go through and just the clumps come out. Clumps, and on his tail. And this is the second time because I groomed him like 5 weeks ago and it was the same.
Really?
And then I did it again this time and it was the same. So first I go through with the comb and it catches on the clumps that are underneath. And I pull that out and then I go through with the slicker brush. And I just can't believe it. It's like, it's unbelievable how much fur comes out because I'm like, you don't look like, I mean, he looks way better afterwards.
Oh, yeah,
but,
yeah.
I was like, it didn't look like you had this much fur. And I'm like, the poor guy.
He was neutered after 1, but his coat compared to Raven's is very different. Those tufts of fur, that you see on the dog's butt,
Mm-hmm.
they're just falling out.
Yeah.
Usually go through with a fine tooth comb, and then I'll go through with a
insane.
slicker. I don't necessarily use the blade. What is it called again?
The horse brush.
There's like 2 different brands that you can get, but it's basically like a wooden block with a blade on it. Is that what you guys are talking about?
Yep.
Yeah. They work really good though. If you know what you're doing. It's similar to they make one that they sell at PetSmart, but that one cuts the coat.
Right.
It's not the same as that. The oh my God, why can't I think of the name of it?
You were talking about the
Furminator.
same thing.
Oh, I don't like
Yeah,
that.
don't use a Furminator. Those actually cut the coat. Those
Yeah,
are really
no.
bad.
Okay, so Furminator we don't use, and it's a shedding blade.
Yeah.
There's one called the Frisco Shedding Blade Dog Brush. It's on Chewy.com, and that's the exact same name. And you can look that up if you want, but I'll occasionally use that. But I really go through the fine tooth. But it's the difference in those 2 dogs' coats. And Murph was neutered over a year. He just has that he's got that chocolate, you know,
This is the
chocolate lab
chocolates.
coat, and he's got that light gray fuzz of tufts just coming out of his butt, and it's just a lot of fur. It's kind of a dull coat. He's on the same food our dogs
Yeah, he
are.
eats the
Okay,
same
so he's-
food that
Yeah.
our dogs eat. Mhm.
Wow.
I don't know, man. He's just got that coat. He's outside a lot. Sometimes that can tint the fur.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a rich chocolate. It
It's like
kind of
that-
has a dye job from staying out in the sun too
Yeah.
long.
It's not, what do they call it? Highlights.
Yeah, you got
Highlights.
highlights.
Free highlights.
Anyway.
Yeah, so that was that. Sometimes using the blower helps, but he just always throws coat.
Yeah. It's, I'm like, oh my God, please, Raven, do
Imagine-
not do this to me.
Imagine a dog
Ugh.
a dog
I know.
starts shedding and we start saying, "It's the solstice."
Telling you.
Because somebody booked an appointment and they had listened to the podcast and they said, "Are you going to do the close open close maneuver
you kidding
on
me?
my
They did,
dog?"
they did?
Yeah, I was like, "Come on!"
I've been
Oh my
doing
gosh.
it. I've been
Have
doing
you?
it.
I
yeah.
have
Did you do it on
Yeah.
the dog who was
Yes,
super?
I did. I
and-
did it on Murphy.
Oh, so he's the one that you have to give the medicated bath to.
No, I
Oh.
didn't. I haven't seen Sammy
Okay.
in a long time.
Okay.
No.
But that's okay.
I don't even know if I'll ever groom him again.
But I've been doing close, open,
Open,
close.
close.
I
Yeah,
have too
yeah.
on my You know what's nice about it? The lather. I'm a big lather person.
Yeah,
I
I
love
know.
a good lather. So
Oh.
like when you put the conditioner on first, it is, oily.
Mhm.
So I don't know if oily is the right word, but like when you put the shampoo on, like the shampoo is like, oh, I have something to clean. So it like
Suds up. I know it's so fun. I like a good lather too, but like in our industry, we always say like lather doesn't necessarily like make it better. So
Yeah.
if something doesn't lather, it doesn't make it an inferior product. But
Yeah.
I love a good lather and I like a good, clean, fresh scent. Like not over the top, but clean. Like when you bury your face in the fur, I want it to smell like something.
I know.
Yeah, I
you're,
know. I
you're
can-
proud of.
not-
You can
not
always
my-
tell
not
when
my-
you groomed a dog
I-
versus
I don't-
somebody else. 'Cause it smells like perfume.
When Renee grooms a dog, I'm like, "Oh, good, Renee's grooming this dog. My whole place is going to smell like perfume." And Leah comes home. "Did Renee come and visit?" I go, "She did."
But I stopped using that one perfume that you didn't like.
Yeah, no.
That one that was too strong. It was
Well,
just a little too
when
strong.
I have dogs on my walking schedule that Renee grooms, I don't hike with them that week so that their owners can enjoy their new
New
do.
fresh smell.
And the poof.
The poof. Hamish has a good poof.
Yes.
He's
Yes,
fabulous.
He does.
I know Renee took it personally when I said that one of the dogs. I said one of the dogs smells like a French horse. She goes, "I love that perfume."
It was like $98 for a bottle. It was as much as human perfume. It's
Well.
called like Le Pooch. It's like super expensive. And the thing's damn friggin' full because you said, I don't like it. Well, Renee, what did you put on? The way you said it, I knew you didn't like it.
Use it on your New Hampshire
Did you use
customers 'cause
something
we'll never see
new?
'em.
Did you see something new today? I think it was actually you. Like she must have told you to ask me. So yeah,
And
needless
Renee-
to say, I've used it on myself. But
Renee's like, "I use Le Pooch on him. It is the solstice. Close, open, close." I know. If you take nothing home with you, just remember this. So back to our Alex question. I know Renee brought up that comment I made at when the mics were off. She's like, I took that comment personally. I go, "I'm very sorry." So Alex, you want to see some professionalism with the person. They know your dog's name. They know you. They don't rush the process if the dog doesn't like it. If they say, "Hey, I didn't do this," it might show a groomer has a lot of patience. Do you care when you go to a facility if the dog is there all day and if they let dogs walk around while your dog is being groomed? I feel like that
Ooh.
would be something to wonder about. I don't want to go to a grooming salon and see dogs free and running around because I've seen that before. I would think that it's a hazard.
it is, and it's a safety concern. I mean, I worked in a salon like that where she would let certain dogs out. And I'd have to check under the table because it was a hydraulic table, make sure the dog wasn't under the hydraulics
Oh my
before I
God.
lowered or raised the table. Or you have a big dog, on a small dog, you got scissors in your hand, the phone's ringing. Personally, I'm not a fan of like the cageless environment. I am a fan of one-on-one because I think it's less stress on the groomer and the dog. But it depends on, does the one-on-one literally mean one dog gets dropped off and then when that dog's complete, you take the new client? Or is one-on-one another term for cageless? Like it's a free-for-all.
Yeah.
Some people actually just take advantage of the fact they can leave their dog there all day.
Ooh.
Because a lot of groomers don't actually charge a daycare fee. Like for me, if your dog was there all day, I would most definitely be charging a fee on top of the grooming fee for having to like make sure your dog has fresh water and
Goes
goes
Yeah,
to the
you gotta let them out.
bathroom and right. But some people kind of like that for that reason. Just like, oh, cool, I can drop my dog off on my way to work and I'll pick him up on the way home. It just
So-
depends on how high volume. A lot of times too, if you're going to a high volume salon where they have maybe 30 or 40 appointments on the books for the day, your dog might be there all day because it depends on if they stagger arrivals or if they just take all the dogs in within the first 2 hours of opening and then every dog gets stuffed in a crate and then they go one by one. I mean, everybody kind of has a different process.
Yeah.
Right. I never even thought about that. Is my dog in the lineup of 10 other dogs?
I mean, where I worked, that's how it was.
I would
30
de-
dogs in crates in the back barking all day long. I was
Oh, I
so
would
stressed out.
definitely
And then her
ask.
being like, Renee, you've only done 4 dogs. Come on, I need you to do 6 more. And I'm like, this dog doesn't like this. Like, it was not for me. It's not
Yeah. Stressful.
not my speed, not my style. I didn't enjoy it.
That's a really good question then. If I had a dog where I didn't have my own grooming situation, I would definitely ask, is my dog going to be there all day? Because I don't want my Rottweiler there all day. I don't want dogs walking around him.
Right.
God forbid an accident. I mean, how many times do I drop a pair of scissors and just cry inside?
Oh, I know.
And then there's a dog underneath?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't deal with that stress. Never mind. Imagine a dog dealing with it. Okay, so that's a question I would ask. Another thing is I went into a salon and they have a great reputation and man, can they groom a poodle. There was hair flying in my face the second I walked into that door. I mean, there's hair just everywhere, hanging off the fans. Just how clean does it have to be? That's Buddha. He's making a lot of sounds right now. Like, what do you want to see when you walk in as far as cleanliness for a grooming salon?
Well, I mean, were they working on the dog while the hair was flying on your face? Or there were no dogs present?
We
and
had
there was
walked
just
in the morning and I was helping a customer whose dog was
having a hard time.
yeah, I had a lot of issues, so I was watching. But like when we walked in the place, I was like, "Oh my God, we're the first appointment of the day. Why does it look like this?"
Oh,
I was a
okay.
little turned off.
Yeah. That would, I mean, if they were in the midst of grooming, I can understand that, especially if they don't have like someone who's answering phones and vacuuming in between.
Like
Me
the
too.
person in a salon like sweeps.
Right. But
Me
if
too.
you're the first appointment of the day, then I would think, what are the cleaning protocols from the previous evening?
Don't get me wrong, when I'm grooming a burner, it's a hot mess in there. I got hair flying at me.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I sterilize and
I mean, same for me because it's such a small space. Like, I vacuum in between and do my disinfectant and sanitation process, but little hair might get stuck to like the crown molding or
No,
something.
not
And
like
then
that. I'm not
no,
talking
you're
about
talking
that.
about yeah,
there was like the fan had hair, and it was the morning.
yeah.
I have a question, kind of unrelated. Do you worry about your lungs?
So groomer's lung is a thing,
Oh,
Oh, it is?
but I don't wear a mask. I don't wear ear protection. I know. I'm like the
Nay.
worst. I know. There's actually a very well-known groomer she's written books. She has her own apparel line. She's quite well-known in the industry, and she actually has groomer's lung.
Was it cancer?
I think it's similar. It's not technically a cancer, but it's similar to having lung cancer.
Yeah, because
but
you're
with dog
breathing in
hair.
all those chemicals and the
Plus
dander,
the dander,
and
the nail
hair, and
dust.
oh my
I'm
God.
gonna die early, Leah.
I know, but I can't wear a mask all day while grooming. Like
No.
I could barely do it for COVID.
We're better off just leaving the garage door open or ventilation inside.
Yeah.
I'll read it. Groomer's lung, also known as hairy lung, refers to the health issues arising from inhaling airborne particles commonly found in grooming environments. These minuscule particles encompass pet hair, dander, nail dust, and a range of allergens, all of which become suspended in the air during the grooming process.
If you ever wonder why your groomer charges what they charge,
We'll be deaf. We'll be on ventilators, and we'll have carpal tunnel.
Wow, I have to wear a
scoliosis.
mask. This is horrifying. The tiny, sharp fragment. It's just like something else that's going to keep me up tonight,
Great.
along with the hot
job,
flashes.
Leah.
The tiny, sharp fragments of hair get deep into the lungs, leaving inflammation and scar tissue behind. Once you have groomer's lung, it will likely affect you for the rest of your life. Some groomer's lung symptoms include chronic coughing, frequent chest pain, and general inflammation of the airway. I'm dying.
I mean, all groomers, if you guys are ever on a groomers forum, they're like on Ozempic right now because they eat like McDonald's for lunch. They smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day. They get gifted bottles of alcohol. Like, groomers are not healthy people. I mean, this particular woman that I'm referring to is very fit. Like, she looks like a marathon runner. She's been in the industry for a long time. They didn't know anything about, the
dangers
of,
Now I wear, what do you call them? To block the sound from
I'm like,
my
I wear
ears.
headphones to listen to my podcasts.
I
but
can't even
not
hear
like-
anything. Now,
Well, if I wear Skull Candy earbuds, you know that brand?
Mhm.
Okay. I have AirPods and I have those. And if I wear the Skull Candy, even if I don't have music on, it is like ear protection. Like, I can't hear. So if I listen to a podcast with those on, it goes over the dryer. Like, I can hear the podcast.
Right.
With the AirPods, I cannot hear a podcast or music or anything if I have the dryer on. So they do like actually block out the sound.
Yeah. So, okay, then I wear ear protection. Just
Yeah,
not-
there you go.
Yeah. Because I have the Bose
Yeah.
headphones.
Yeah.
And even my phone doesn't even have to be on full volume when my dryer's on full blast. And
Oh
I
yeah,
can hear.
if I'm gonna like sneak up on you in the van and I knock, you can't hear me. I have to open it.
Yeah, exactly. You know
Be
that. Like the
and
last
then,
time
like,
I was
wave
there and
in
you're
front
like,
of your face.
you're like, hello, I have blondies. I'm trying to share them with you. I was like, la la la. I had Hamish in the tub. I was like, yeah, totally.
and
no
then
clue.
I really messed you up because I was standing to one side and he wouldn't go to the other side, so I had to walk across.
He
the
wanted
van.
to know what she was doing. So I was like, Hamish, turn. And he would only be looking at her. And I'm like, okay, Leah, go over there so that he'll turn over there. I think I told Kristen that after. I'm like, oh my God, he's too much.
He's so cute.
what does Leah want today?
Yeah.
I'm getting my Le Pooch perfume.
He's so cute. All right, Laurie, let's do one more question.
No, not one. We got things to do. All
Okay.
right. Sorry, I moved away from the mic. God forbid.
Now I'm worried about copper toxicosis over here.
I'm gonna
You
die.
guys have to tell me. No, that's just has to do with labs.
I'm gonna die now.
Something about not processing, not eliminating the copper from their liver or something.
This is everyone else's question in the entire world. Do you know what it is?
No.
How do I get rid of the tear stains on my dog's eyes? Oh my God. You don't. They just
I
stay
know,
there
they
forever
just-
and ever. Amen. Change the food, change the water. Nobody knows. Drippity drop.
I mean, honestly, I've gone through, you can do purified water, right? Just not tap water. So bottled water, a little bit of distilled water a couple times a week, add
Like
a probiotic.
Drinking the water or putting it on the tear stains.
No, putting it in the water bowl.
Okay,
Probiotics,
but they don't know what it is.
plain Greek yogurt, genetics. I think it's genetics, and I think diet can affect it because I have certain dogs that have like mild tear stains, and then maybe they're not on like a super high quality diet, and then the tear stains become more severe, and just yeah.
Okay, and if someone's listening, they don't know what tear stains are or the breeds that are susceptible to it.
Shih Tzus,
Bijans.
Bichons,
Any white doodle.
any white dog,
Yeah.
a lot of dogs that are mixed, like cockapoos. Gosh, I'm trying to think. Some of the ones that I have that are the worst. Morkies, Yorkies. A lot of small dogs that just have like eye weeping issues too, right? That just, there's not a whole lot of places for them to eliminate their
Their tears.
the tear stains. Yeah.
And then
I'm trying to think.
reverse eyelash is a completely different thing, people. But if your dog has that, it will produce It will produce eye stains as well. Have you ever heard of the
Yeah.
reverse
I'm
eyelashes?
wondering if Cherry Eye would too, or not necessarily.
Honestly, I think any kind
Any
of
eye
trauma to
condition.
the eye like that would, and those get repaired. Normally, I don't want to say the wrong word. I always say it wrong. Entropion. Is it entropion?
I think so.
That's
And-
the eyelashes.
And then Luca, for example, they're waiting. You want to wait till 6 months to reverse the condition. You have to wait till
If
6
your dog
months.
is born with it.
If your dog is, and that is genetic.
Yeah.
That's
you-
a bad one.
Yeah, and if you get a dog, whatever, if it's a rescue and it happens to have a breed that's popular with Rottweilers, it's if you don't, if the breeder doesn't check for those things, which they should, if the breed is susceptible to it, you should make sure that in fine print on the bottom it doesn't exclude that on the contract.
Really?
Some
Will breeders do that?
if-
Put that in there?
It happened recently to a customer of mine.
Really?
It's common in the breed, and when she read the contract and signed it, this it's not ethical. It's not ethical what happened. And just the fact that it was in fine print on the bottom shows that it must have happened before in her line over and over again. So that's disappointing. So make sure, guys, that you read the fine print of those contracts and see why the contract wouldn't include a genetic problem for that breed. So that's
Yeah, well,
that's
sometimes though,
unfortunate.
Laurie, like if you go to a lab breeder, it'll say an ACL problem, and it could be in their line, but it could be because people that own hunting dogs blow their ACLs. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like
this
that's
specifically.
a tough thing.
This specifically is genetic. I
Yeah.
don't know what lab breeders test for, but I know that Rottweiler breeders do test heart, elbows, hips.
Well, yeah, all of
Eyes.
those things they have to test.
But I don't
for.
know what. I think lab breeders might have I would have to look that up, guys. Sorry, I don't know.
It's just an interesting conversation to have. Like,
yeah.
read the fine print.
Read the fine
basically.
print,
And
that's
then
what I
if you
would
don't
say.
understand what it means, look it up. Nothing wrong with that. Somebody can wait a day for you to figure out what the fine print actually means.
You ever use baby shampoo on dogs?
Ooh,
No.
okay.
I mean, baby puppy shampoo, yes.
But not like
actual
a Vino
human
baby
shampoo.
shampoo.
No.
You don't use a Vino oatmeal shampoo?
No. I don't use oatmeal shampoo.
That's a big no, everyone.
It dries
Stop
out.
it.
It dries out the skin.
Stop it.
Oatmeal is good if if the dog's skin is yeasty, because you want to dry it out.
Okay.
Otherwise, oatmeal is too drying. I don't even carry oatmeal on
Okay,
board.
interesting.
Baby shampoo is not formulated. It's not pH balanced the way that it needs to be for a dog versus a human. The
That's
only
interesting.
shampoo, human grade shampoo I have ever used on a dog is Head and Shoulders on a miniature schnauzer who has severe comedome syndrome. Severe.
What, excuse me?
Comedome syndrome is very common in schnauzers. It's basically like a pimple that appears when schnauzers are clippered versus stripped.
Oh, yeah, we talked about this last time.
So the whole entire follicle just gets clogged up and it just creates these blackheads across the skin.
Okay.
And she's no longer with me, but I've done that dog since he was a baby. And over the years, it's a genetic thing that they're just predisposed to. My dog personally never had them, but this dog has them like crazy. And we've tried every medicated vet prescribed shampoo under the sun. I tried multiple different shampoo lines for him, and Head and Shoulders is what we settled on. It didn't make a difference. It didn't make a difference. They were still there, tamer, but something about the sulfur and Head and Shoulders, I guess, is supposed to be good for that particular condition. But overall, I would not recommend. And I also wouldn't recommend using like Paul Mitchell makes a dog shampoo. Like I would
Oh.
never
Like
pers-
an off, like
Like,
a
I
brand, but like an off product.
I wouldn't use that. I wouldn't use Burt's Bees. That's just my personal preference. I don't.
Well, that was actually, this is leading into my next question.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. Woohoo. I love when that happens.
Your favorite hypoallergenic shampoo?
My favorite shampoo line right now is iGroom. IGROOM.
All right.
And they make a hypo, unscented, clarifying, charcoal. They make general purpose cleaning, a de-shed, multitude of different conditioners. It's very high quality. No parabens, no sulfates.
All right. Again, sorry guys, that's Buddha making sounds. What's your favorite? Do you even think that you can get a skunk shampoo, or you just mixing up your dish?
No, I'm
detergent
doing
and shit?
dish and peroxide and
Okay.
yeah, I'm not.
How
I just don't
Have-
think
have-
any of them work, to be honest. I don't even think that one works that great.
yeah.
Doing the Dawn and peroxide and
I don't either.
and baking soda, I don't even think that works.
I like Nature's Miracle and SOS.
Okay,
I've had good luck with those.
you have immediately putting it on a dry coat.
It has to be immediate. Yeah, like
Yeah.
the Nature's Miracle, I leave it on the coat and let it sit. And then SOS has a really strong like coconut smell.
Yeah.
Okay,
So you're on the island. It's a nice smell.
yummy.
But, skunk smells you don't get rid of.
Well, the problem is, generally speaking, when a dog gets stung by a skunk, it's like late at night. They're going to the bathroom. It's in a bush, so they get sprayed in the face.
Yeah.
And then it gets into their nasal passages, and then it gets into the saliva. So, like I tell people, if your dog gets sprayed by a skunk, as soon as it gets wet, it's gonna smell like skunk for 6 months minimum.
Oh, I know. It's so
minimum,
gross.
because it's already in the salivary glands. You
Yeah.
can't get it out of that.
Yep.
It's like, it's brutal.
Do you ever have a client like call you and say, "Hey, my dog got skunked. Can you help me out?"
Usually, they just say, "What do I do?"
Okay, yeah. Actually, we're the same way. Yeah, they ask.
They
us what
usually
we do.
say, "What do you do?" I've only had one. I groomed her German Shepherd, and then the same night that I groomed him, he got skunked.
Oh.
And she's like, "Can you come back and do it?" I mean, I did, but I charged for it again because I couldn't even bring him in. I think that was when I still had the trailer. I didn't even want him inside the
No.
trailer.
Yeah.
So
Guys.
it was in the middle of the summer, so I did it outside. I had him in the driveway, and
Sure.
it is
smells
still
so
oh my God,
bad.
It's so bad. I hate it.
And if that dog gets into your house,
It's horrible.
everything smells. Have you ever hit a skunk with your car?
No, I haven't. But I've gone by when someone else has. Even if you just pass by and it's already roadkill.
Makes
you know how
wanna
it like
pass out.
gets in your vents and you're
Yeah.
like,
We smell it from the main road up here on the mountain if somebody hit a skunk.
oh,
Well, one time,
brutal.
so the very first dog that I ever took care of as an adult, I was living in a 3-bedroom in Newton and with wonderful people. And they were cool with having her because she was like a really nice dog. And I had let her out. She got skunked. Literally the situation that you just described. She ran over to a bush. As she's running back to me, it's like she was just carrying a wall of smell with her behind her. Like a freaking battalion. I'm like, oh my God. And as my eyes start watering. So I just sit outside with her for like 10 minutes being like, what do I do? And so my roommate's room was on like the other side of the apartment. And so I brought her into the bathtub and we had like Dawn dish detergent and I just like
Doused her.
doused her in it. And it was like 11 o'clock at night. So I sent him a text. I'm like, hey, Jim, I don't know if you're still up. I just wanted to let you know, the dog got skunked and I'm doing my best to take care of it. And he goes, oh, I can smell it.
Oh my
His
the
door
per-
was closed and I was on the other side of the house. I was like, fuck. I was just like, oh my God. That dog smelled forever.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
brutal.
And she thankfully didn't get it in the face. She got it on her shoulder and it was quick. She didn't because here's the other problem. If your dog is like messing around with the skunk, it's one thing. This dog got sprayed. Yeah, I don't like that. Ran away. Some dogs are like, oh yeah, you want to play? And they're just like, swimming in it.
I know.
That's the kiss of death.
Or people don't
Horrible.
realize it, right? They just like let their dog out, and then when the dog comes trampling back to the door, they like open the door. The dog is all over the bed, the whole house.
Oh, my
Because that
God.
has happened to people.
Yep.
Oh my God.
They let him in and they're like, wait, do you smell that? And the dog's, rolling
Already
around
on the
carpet.
couch, on the
That's it.
rug. Yeah.
So the next
throw it all away,
day-
burn it all down.
that this whole thing happened, I woke up and I went to Petco. And I went like right when they opened at like 9 a.m. I was like there. And I was looking at the skunk, shampoos. And I asked the guy, I'm like, hey, which one should I pick or whatever? And he goes, oh yeah, your dog got sprayed by a skunk. And I said, yeah. He goes, well, it must not be that bad. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you smell fine. He goes, sometimes people come in here because their dog gets sprayed by a skunk and the whole store stinks because like they have it on them,
Yeah.
like they stink. So yeah, it was funny. And then I remember one time I was bartending and it was like a lunch crowd because I used to work during lunch, and this dude comes in and his dog got sprayed by a skunk and he smelled like a skunk.
Oh.
And luckily it was like summertime, so like all the windows were open and this and that, but like the whole bar was like, oh, you guys smell that? You guys
Yeah.
smell that? And then they figured out it was him. Then everyone was making fun of him. I felt so
Oh,
bad.
poor guy.
Because he had like, office clothes on, like khakis and like a pink shirt. He was like a computer job or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
The time I hit a skunk guy with my car, I was a nutritionist in a hospital, and I was down in the kitchen that day running the show. My clothes stunk. I stunk. It was the worst. What about parents who give multiple baths to their dogs after they get sprayed? Worth it, not worth it, stop it, you're drying the coat out.
I don't think it makes a difference.
Doesn't make a
It's
difference,
still-
guys.
Honestly, it doesn't make a difference if they get the coat wet first or they do the treatment. I mean, when I did the treatment on that one dog, that dog didn't get wet. We went immediately and did the whole mix, left it on for 10, 20 minutes, whatever it was. He still smelled like
Yeah.
it. So yeah, I don't think it matters if they get the tomato juice, all the six things.
I would
six
never
baths.
do tomato
no,
juice.
I know.
Yeah, that's more of a mess than it's worth.
Cold water, right? I mean, God, you don't want to use, because you don't want to open the pores up again,
I
because when
know.
the dog gets sprayed,
It's the oil,
their
right?
pores are open,
Yeah.
they get sprayed,
I think we
pores shut.
We just need to count on open clothes to get us through.
Are you
Dog
going to do the
gets sprayed.
clothes?
Maybe we could
over
try
clothes?
that with the next skunked dog. I prefer not to do them. I think people know enough not to ask me. Like,
Yeah.
Renee, SOS emergency.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah,
say,
no.
Renee, what do I do? The dog just got sprayed. And I just send them the recipe.
We've gotten a few
don't
late night texts from people, and I do feel bad. But most of the time, they're like, I don't even want to take this dog in my car, so
Yeah,
So
what do I do?
they're
to
not breaking
fix it?
down our door. Anyway. All right, let's do one more, Laurie.
Oh, I have this chow mix that I groom.
God bless you.
She's a real gift. And the parent said, oh, we gave her a bath in between because she smelled. And do you cry inside? I cried. This dog, when I'm blowing her coat out, and again, me with my little fine tooth comb, she was, I think 3 hours later, she was so matted because they didn't dry the coat out.
They just gave her a bath.
They just gave her a bath. And I just want,
Just a feat.
there was a layer of mat underneath that top coat. And sometimes she doesn't like grooming. So you can imagine how she felt about my, teasing her hair like grandma on a Saturday afternoon before she goes to church. The teasing the hair, the blowing the coat out, the teasing the I went through it. It took me forever.
That's brutal.
It was more than 3 hours, I think. It was terrible. And you can't put the dog through that
No.
much. So we did take a break. I let her out in the yard and let her walk around. It's brutal.
But at that point,
Don't wash
don't
your
bathe your dog if you don't know what you're doing. Like, or if it's, I have a collie who has like wicked bad skin condition, and they have a medicated shampoo. It's supposed to be applied like every week. I see the dog every 4. Like, please don't do it, because I don't trust that you're going to rinse the medicated shampoo and like not cause her more discomfort. And her coat takes easy an hour to an hour and 15 minutes with me, with a professional canine dryer, 1 hour and 15 minutes just to dry it.
Yeah.
So if you're not drying it and you're just letting it air dry, now you're letting like bacteria, and her coat is impossible. This poor dog, she's just a mess, a hot mess.
And tell me again how many years you've been grooming now?
What year are we in? 2024. 12 years.
In
This summer will be my 10-year anniversary of
Oh, nice.
transformations here.
in 10 years, how much would you say allergies in dogs have risen from back in the day? I've never seen anything like it in my whole life. Dogs getting injections, allergy injections. I've really never seen anything like it.
Here's what I'm wondering, though, because you're right, and it's especially here. I said, until I moved here, I've never heard of a dog being allergic to grass, every protein except for, New Zealand lamb. Like, I've never heard of any of these things. Like, not until I moved to Massachusetts that dogs have so many. Do you think, because I feel this way about human beings, do you think it's the vaccines? Because don't you think it's also odd that, like, my kid can't even bring a peanut butter sandwich to school now? There's no nuts of any kind of any derivative allowed in any facility any longer. Where did this come from? Like, when did this happen? It's super annoying because do you know how convenient a peanut butter and jelly or a peanut butter and fluffernutter sandwich is for lunch? And I have to get, nitrate-free turkey breast because he can't bring a simple peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's like a pain in the ass, quite frankly.
I don't know. It would
So
be
I wonder,
interesting
do you
to
think
make a connection because, we have parvo, distemper, rabies, right?
And
Those
then-
are like the basics.
Right, but then people who do lepto, Lyme.
Yeah, lepto, Lyme, coughing,
Bordetella.
Yeah. See, I don't do any of those ones, but
I
I'm just
I
curious.
did
I don't know.
I did
Maybe
the
I'm
Lyme one this year
really.
because the dog, they get ticks.
I don't think so because I think the vaccines. I think that if you're worried about it, you should titer. I want to titer. I don't know why I haven't approached this.
Yeah, but
already
Laurie,
with my
hang on.
dogs.
Let's back up for just a second because titering has always been around. And the only thing that we're titering for are parvo, distemper, and rabies, right?
Yeah. I
So-
mean, but the core vaccines have always been around.
Right.
So it's when you. I think that when you veer off of it, you may be. I think it may have a little bit of an.
Or maybe
adverse.
just like because think about what our dogs used to. My first dog was purchased from a pet store. Talk about backyard breeding, and she ate kibbles and bits.
Yeah.
No,
I know.
man.
Kibbles and
Our
bits and
dogs
bits
ate
and bits.
Alpo.
What about Gravy Train?
Gravy
You
Train.
added water.
Right.
It was amazing. My dog lived to
Alpo,
13. I never
mighty,
had an issue.
Mighty dog, right? Or something. So, and then think about what our dogs eat now. Now my dog has like,
What did you call it? It's amazing.
what, New Zealand lamb? My dogs don't eat New Zealand lamb. The one eats white fish.
Neither
The other
do
one eats
ours.
pork. But they eat like, organic seaweed, sweet potato. I mean, there's like
Crazy.
all,
Then they-
then they get a joint powder. Then they get pumpkin puree with ginger and turmeric for the
can't even.
nice stool. They get an aromatic bone broth
Yeah.
on top. These are my dogs. I'm not kidding. I
Are you
sent this-
kidding?
I'm dead serious.
I thought you were joking
No, I'm dead
around.
serious. That's what my dogs eat. They eat Steve's real dog food with bone broth, pumpkin puree, and New Pro joint powder.
And then they go outside and eat
Shit.
a shit.
Well,
and
Poppy does.
shit
She's
and a
still eating.
groundhog.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I'm
Dirt.
gonna go outside and have some dessert now, mother.
It's grass season right now. Oh, God.
So, anyways, it's just, I don't know. It just makes you wonder sometimes because now our diets have gotten more sophisticated and
Yeah.
tailored to what you think a dog in the wild would eat, right? A dog in the wild isn't going to eat water sufficient for processing and chicken byproduct. I mean, that's not what wild dogs ate, right?
I
They ate-
think it has to do. Honestly, I think it has to do with overbreeding, and I think you see it more in the U.S. than anywhere else.
yeah.
I mean,
Interesting.
I think there is something to say for certain rescue dogs. I think are more susceptible, like the bully breeds. The allergies are definitely more. I see more allergies with rescued bully breeds, but then the argument can be made that that is a result of overbreeding still because the rescues are coming from some sort of a breeding program, even though it's, not really a program, right? But I don't know. I had a conversation with myself because I was teaching the class, but a conversation in
Self?
Saturday's class, and we were just talking about like sitting down on a bench or something with your dog, like on a leash, and just sitting there and doing nothing. And that's something that I try to do with Raven a lot. I've been doing it at night recently, just out on the patio with her on a place board. But I was thinking, like, before we had cell phones and like a constant stimulus and entertainment, like people sat around with their dogs and read a book, or they're just sitting there with their dog, like not expecting anything
Right.
and not entertained by anything, just freaking sitting there for like a long time. And we don't do that stuff anymore where we're bored and we have our dog and we're just sitting there with them. And I think that there's something to be said for that type of training where you're just existing with your dog and not trying to pet them or be them not asking them for anything or whatever. And I think that whole concept is a little foreign to us because we're so used to being constantly entertained by things. And so I've been trying in the past couple of weeks to make more time to do that, especially with Raven because she's so hyper.
Mm-hmm.
And it's paying off because this week, 2 days in a row,
She laid
she
still.
laid still on the bed with me and fell asleep.
Really?
With her head on my chest.
Meanwhile, I opened the door to the bedroom. And you would have thought I was somebody trying to kill,
It disturbed
kill
her.
everyone in the house.
But she's what, like 20 months? No, she's like, I don't know. She's
she's
gonna
a
be
year
2.
and something.
She's gonna be 2 in October, and it's the first time that she's chilled out in the house.
Really?
Yeah, 'cause
Wow,
she's psycho
that's
pants.
tremendous.
She just
She's
walks
just like
around and is just hyper all
lunatic.
the time.
Yeah. High energy.
But I wonder what our, like, holistically, our attention, the chemicals, the microplastics, the vaccines, the food. Like, I don't think it's one specific thing. The breeding. I think it's like
Combo.
a storm of everything, just like
Mm-hmm.
with us, you know?
We just breathe in pollutants every single
Well,
day.
I mean, yeah, just even thinking about how food has changed for us. You know what I mean? How everything is so ultra processed, and it's just kind of the way of convenience. And with people like constantly on the go, working a tremendous amount, you just kind of grab what's easy and convenient and don't realize you're just putting like totally harmful junk in your body.
Well,
Yeah,
just look at
but-
cancer in people.
I
My
know.
God, so sick of
Insane.
losing friends to cancer. I think it's in our. This is off topic, but I do think it has everything to do with food.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, even when you go to another country, like when any of my relatives speak about going to Italy, they never feel bloated when they eat. They never feel a stomach ache when they eat. They never. It's just different. The food is different down there. They'll always say it's just not processed.
It's not. It's not even
It's not
allowed to be
processed.
processed. If you
Yes.
look at the same bag of, let's just say, like Quaker oatmeal. This came up on Facebook not that long ago. It was like Quaker oatmeal if you buy it in the UK versus if you buy it in the US. We have like
yes.
it's 27 ingredients in the US. They have 9 in the UK. And it's like dehydrated strawberries, oats, dehydrated. Like, why do we have hydrochlorogylized, like shit you can't even pronounce? Like,
Yeah.
you definitely don't know what it is. Like, we've even been more mindful of pulling like any of the red dyes out of anything Gabriel
Yeah,
eats
I'm
because
big
that
on that
is
too.
super,
Yeah,
super
bad
bad
for
for you.
you.
Really bad for you. So like anytime he wants to eat something, I have to like, okay, is this like red dye number 4 or is this red from like beet juice? Okay, Gabriel, go ahead. You can have it. And you feel terrible, but like I'm trying to save you from having childhood cancer. I don't know how else to put it, but
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm a sucker for like sports drinks. Like I love like Body Armor and Gatorade. And when it gets hot like this, I stop at the gas station and I load up, and I don't get any red ones because I'm very like, I try to get the ones that are like minimally like dyed, like the blue and the red. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna
I
try
don't like
that.
those. Have you tried the it's still not like super healthy because of the sodium content, but have you ever tried the electrolyte powders?
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah, I do
okay.
that too.
Those are just a little too salty for me, but I hate Gatorade, so that
I
doesn't-
love like when I get really thirsty on the road.
You're like,
Oh my gosh!
Leah
Like
loves
I like
Gatorade.
pound like I go in and I'll get lemonade. I'll just like take a lemonade and drink the whole thing. I'm like, oh my god, yeah, I love it. I
She's
love
like
it.
Macho Man Randy's having. Oh yeah,
I do. I'm a psycho. Like I get like a big bottle of lemonade and I just like pound it in the car because I'm just so hot. And,
they're like, what is wrong with this chick?
oh yeah, Speedway. My friends at Speedway, they know me well. But yeah, no. But again, it's like, back in the day. But like when I was growing up, did we eat the best diet? Probably not. Like my mom was just trying to keep it together, but we sat down for dinner together every single night. And we didn't play sports like when I was growing up because we just didn't. We did other things. And we did. Like my mom cooked every night and we sat down and ate every night. And like, yeah, we eat macaroni and cheese sometimes, sure, but for the most part, like 80% of it was food that she like actually cooked. So even then, if you take, okay, as I was growing up as a kid, I sat down and ate real food every night. Like during the day, did I eat some like processed stuff? Like probably. But if I was a kid and I only ate in 2 nights a week and the other 5 nights a week, I was eating whatever was convenient because we had sports practices and we had dance recital and we had this, that, and the other thing, the amount of actual cooked food that I would be eating throughout my childhood would go way down. So like, I don't know. I'm grateful that when I was, and I also like lived on a farm. So during the summer months, we had produce coming in, and like we did have and our diet was better in the summer than it was in the wintertime. But I think that's normal.
I
To
think
eat
it's
food that's in season and not when it's not in season, you know?
well, yeah, we learned that. That's why it's like harder to find or more
Yeah.
expensive in the off season to
Yeah.
get those vegetables and fruits flown in. But I think even macaroni and cheese 10 or 15 years ago versus what's in it now, because of the way they genetically modify the crops, they want the potatoes to grow bigger. They want, you know what I mean? So it's like the amount of chemicals they even use to produce the ingredients that are not toxic or harmful that go into those. Like Kraft mac and cheese in the 1980s, I guarantee you, doesn't have the same amount of ingredients if we found a box as it does today.
I want to do that comparison.
I would
I'm
be
writing
interested
that
too,
down.
because-
Kraft comparison.
That's why everybody eats Annie's.
They do.
I always ate Annie's. I'm 38, and my mom always had the purple box in the house. But I'm gonna look that up. I wrote it down.
I'm just curious.
I'm still thinking about
Because it's the same thing as
Harry Long.
the number of vaccines that were required for children in the 80s was like 17 before you were 18 years old, right? In the 1980s. And now for kids now, before they turn 18, it's 75.
Yeah, that's correct. Well, I don't have kids, so
I don't know
who
about
am I to
that
talk?
stuff.
It's
Yeah.
insane. So that's why my mind goes to the
I got double vaccinated,
'Cause I'm
so the
like-
fact that I'm like between the Harry Lung and the chemo I received and the transplant, I'm screwed.
You're
just
doing
don't think
fine.
about it.
Yeah, I had it all.
Don't think about it and enjoy.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Double vaccinated.
We're all gonna
After
die
I
from
got a
something.
transplant, I got double vaccinations. Got my childhood vaccinations again.
Oh, because of the transplant?
Yeah.
Yeah, because your immune system
Oh.
goes down to nothing.
Fresh as a
So it's
daisy,
like you're a
brand
little
spanking.
newborn baby.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel. Fresh. Fresh as a daisy. Okay, well, we totally went off topic.
That's
I know,
okay.
but
Hey,
get
you know,
back on
real
so
life.
people
No,
like
we're
are-
done.
Oh, okay, but
We're
I just want to
good.
make
Yeah, no, this is perfect.
we're
people
done.
will be
This
okay
is
that we
what's up.
closed it out, not talking about dog related stuff.
Yeah,
I
come
think
on.
that they're going to be absolutely fine.
We shoot the shizzle all the time here.
Absolutely.
With your
Um,
Louis Vuitton water. I mean, that's a weapon.
Yeah. You do have a Louis Vuitton water bottle.
I
oh
do.
my God.
Like, she's so
I
bougie.
certainly do.
She has a holster with La Pooch
Well,
perfume
this actually,
hanging off the
this
side.
actually could double as a. It's like a fake Stanley, so it could double as a weaponry. Although I don't think I really need it in the good old Boston suburbs.
Yeah. I
Just
think
put a
we're
little
safe.
bat on the side of your door.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. Thank you, Renee, for coming again. And of course, to the lovely Laurie for sitting and chatting with us. Again,
And Buddha.
I'm also holding a Ticonderoga pencil that's like the size as a toy. So he thinks it's a toy.
Oh,
And
there he
just took
goes.
it and he's going to go give it to Laurie.
What do you got, buddy?
Anywho, if you're into what you're listening to, please share the show with your friends. Leave us a 5-star rating and also a review. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can write a little ditty in there about how amazing everything is and how much better your life gets when you listen to Fit Pet Boston Talks.
No ditties. No
Oh
Diddy.
God,
No
Diddy,
ditties.
no Diddy,
No
definitely
Diddy.
no
What?
Diddy.
What do you mean?
P. Diddy? No Diddy.
Oh, never mind. When I said that, I mean write a little something.
Little
write
something,
a little
something.
All right, I'm old. Okay,
All
I
right.
wasn't making that connection. Anywho, thank you guys so much, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.